There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. You know, I got to tell you, there's some people that when we do a show, we say that was nice. And then there are other people when we do a show and say, boy, when is she coming back? And then we invite her back. And then for whatever reason, things happen and life gets in the way. But we get to talk to her again. And Rochelle, would you like to introduce our guest for the hour?
I'd love to. And Kevin is right. Sometimes we're so inspired and then things in life happen and it's all in divine timing. So finally, we have Dr. Lisa Christie joining us here on the show. She has a website, which happens to be her name, drlisachristie.com. This woman is amazing. She's incredible. If you didn't get the chance to entrust in her the last video that we did, please make sure you check that out. But she talks about living strong, healthy through exercise, herbs, supplements, lifestyle, and a lot of other things that I've heard you're inquiring now. So welcome. How are you? What's new?
Thanks for having me on the show, guys. I appreciate it. The song, actually, I appreciate you making it worldwide. I didn't even know that you're joining in with Brushwood Media. What is that? 496 million listeners per month, 196 languages around the world. Congrats. That's really awesome. You guys are just branching even farther and impacting more lives with Positive Talk Radio. I'm just so inspired and grateful to have me on and make my song even Love is the Answer, Lita, go worldwide. That was my prayer, and you answered my prayers, so thank you.
Yeah, Brushwood, and we are part of that, and they are in 190 countries and translated into 30 different languages.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So I don't know what you sound like in Russian, but if you go there, you'd find out.
No, still sultry, I guess, that deep voice of mine. I know. I answer phone calls in the morning, and they go, "Can we talk to Lisa Christie? Can you talk to your wife?" And I'm like, "This is me."
And let me get a glass of water first, and then we'll talk.
I know, something warm up the vocal cords. But
so, how have you been since the last time we chatted?
Listen, you guys, I when you had some technicality problems and the show was canceled, I was like, it's just not time yet. We have to go through some stuff to have more content and in-depth and deep discussions. But my music's been out. I've been on a lot of different radio shows locally and nationally, a lot of different podcasts. Requests to be on podcasts, but I pray about them because you don't want to be on all of them. Yeah. I think we talked about when I was even asked to be on the Preacher Show for the Cosby Show. Yes. And I talked to the executive producer and I went, what exactly is this show about? What is your audience? Oh, mostly people of color. And I went, have you done your homework? I'm married to a person of color and I preach in churches of color. And they're like, well, they thought they were going to have a white woman on who they wanted to make out to be prejudiced, right? So
not me, honey.
So I do my homework just to make sure I'm not just going on anything. But sometimes people are going to set you up for a downfall. You don't always want to say yes to everything. So.
It is the craziest thing. I did a pre-interview with a gentleman day before yesterday, and he'd already booked the show, but he wanted to do the 15-minute meeting because he approached me like this. He said, well, if you look at me, you know that I'm obviously gay. Is that going to be a problem when we talk? And it's like, I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean. And he said, well, there are some places I can't go and I don't feel comfortable because all they want to talk about is this thing. And it's like, no, because in some of us, Dr. Lisa, racism and sexism and all of that isn't in our wheelhouse, and I don't understand why it does get into some people's wheelhouse because it doesn't.
I love everybody. It's your lifestyle, how you choose to live. I choose to live my way, and I just love on everyone like I'm supposed to, or otherwise I'd be a hypocrite, right?
Well, and we're all connected.
You don't have to sit there and shove it in people's faces either. You know, your lifestyle is your lifestyle. My lifestyle is my lifestyle. But don't push your junk on me, and I won't push my junk on you.
Yep.
You know, 100 million years ago, I was dating a gal, and we went to a gay bar one time, and I was sitting there, and a gentleman was sitting next to us, and she got up to go to the restroom, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he said, "Oh, you just stop it. You're obviously not gay, and nobody's going to touch you. Nobody's going to come up to you, and nobody's going to bother you." It's like, well, okay, I guess. I don't know.
It's true, because I went into a club years ago, and I had no idea that it was a gay
I did
club.
the same thing.
And so when I walked in, I went, do I smell like there's something going on that there's no guys hitting on me here? I don't understand it. And then I realized when I saw they had like a transgender runway fashion show, and I went, oh.
Got it. You hear the Britney Spears come on, and you're like, yep, I understand. Yes.
So yeah. Next subject.
So you're a musician, you're a singer-songwriter, and the song that you have out that you can reference now, you got another one coming out that we'd hoped was going to be out today, but it didn't make it.
Going to come out. It's called Do Right. So it was a song from the 1970s I heard, and Paul Davis wrote it, and I ended up changing the melody, writing 3 verses, rapping or spitting in a section of it. I just absolutely love it. I really do think that it's going to be a crossover song. But it's really about, it brings in some scripture, but it's, love your neighbor like yourself. Yeah. With kindness and respect, throwing those things in there, but it's really a crossover song. And I played it for a DJ, a local DJ, and he goes, "That's fire. That's going to be fire." I could see a Grammy out of that one. I was hoping that we would release it today, but there's another thing I'm getting involved in. I was asked to write a song it's called Dancing Pancakes, and it's for children. It's a children's book, and it's about eating right and, living healthy and getting these kids motivated, inspired. So because of the first song, Love is the Answer, they want me to write a song called Dancing Pancakes, which is, I love that because I love kids. I've been doing kids camps for years. And I just, I'm like sitting in any restaurant and a kid will come up to me and go, "Hi, do you want to see me dance?" I'm like, "I would love to see you dance, but where are your parents?" And you can see their parents are over there in the corner, not even paying attention that their child has left the table. But they always come to me because I'm a small child inside my heart anyway. And I'm literally playing with kids all the time and doing crazy things. But I just love children so much. That's my heart. It really is, because you got to bring yourself down to that level. People forget that they were once children. They forget that they've lived their lives and did crazy things, or how children think. They don't care anymore. They're too busy thinking about themselves. It's a prideful thing. But I'm always trying to bring myself down to their level and talk to them in a way that I can communicate and they understand. And it just, no matter where I go, I love them and just try to help them. And don't touch them. That's what makes a change. Yes. I don't know that one. Who is the Billy Bob Thornton? He said, "I just seen red."
Yeah.
Right. When you touch a child, I think we talked about that on one of the podcasts where I saw a lady abuse her child. I was like, "Don't you do that in front of me."
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And by the way, for those older among us, there was a gentleman by the name of Art Linkletter. Are you familiar with him? He had a show.
I feel like I've heard the name, but doesn't ring any bells. No.
Well, this you may remember because he would take a segment of his show and he had several kids lined up and he would ask them questions. And the name of the segment was "Kids Say the Darndest Things."
Oh, yes. I know we need to bring that back.
I agree, because the honesty and the forthrightness that children talk with before they're taught to, like lie, cheat, and steal and stuff. They're honest, and in their frame of mind, that
it's called perspective, their lens, right? And we don't see it that way, but they have such a purity about the way they see things and innocence.
Exactly. When I was a little boy, I was part of the Cub Scout troop, and there was a show that we went to. It was called JP Patches. And JP Patches was well known in the area. If you're from Seattle, you'll know who I'm talking about. He and Gertrude, who was actually a guy named Gertrude. Anyway, but they would, he would ask questions of kids. And he asked a question, and they called on me. And the question was, what makes a man different than a woman? And my answer was, well, women don't like rats.
What?
Because
that's not true.
my mother used to get on the chair. If there was a mouse in the house, she would get on the chair and wait for somebody to come save her. And so
That's stuck in your head. Isn't that funny though? They go from memories and stuff. I don't know. I as a child, I don't know about you, but I was unfiltered. And so I'm very direct as an adult, but I was very unfiltered. You know, I think my mom, we were standing in a grocery line and I said, you know, that's not my mom's hair. That's a wig. That's not her hair. And I would announce things, or I would say, you know, hurtful things. I remember that. I think what really made me change that perspective, I was probably about 5 years old. And my dad hated his mother for some reason. You know, he was a pastor's kid, but his mom was she was more of the strong kind of, not, I guess, cold, but very firm and stern and stubborn. And so he said he had hated her. So when I sat down and talked to her by myself on her couch, I said, you know, my dad said he hates you, and it made her cry. And I realized, you can tell, you can't say everything that you know, because you hurt feelings. I realized that I was like, oh, I feel horrific now that I didn't realize I was going to hurt her. But that started changing my perspective on how to say things so unfiltered, because I was I would say I would make my dad laugh because I was so unfiltered, but I'm so sorry. But now I'm more direct, and I hear that too. Some people say, well, you're just so direct. You're not always preaching to everyone. And I went, oh, that's interesting. You can't always be honest with everyone about everything. But yeah, that's.
Well, and it's such a powerful perspective also, because not just even when we're around children, but other people, who's to say we haven't been the person to say something that sets someone's perspective on that subject? Because Kevin, I had pet rats. Like, I had 2 at first, then I had another 2, then I had 1, you know, and they're my best friends. They're super smart. They're adorable. You couldn't convince me otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that matter of perspective and how it can shift even as an adult. Sometimes we'll throw ourselves into a perspective based off of something else that happened, but the way we reframe it is sometimes worse, would you say?
Well, I think honesty too. But like, oh, you're so direct, but some people don't want to tell people the truth. They just want them to keep coming into an office and getting their money out of them and not being honest. Like, if you just stop smoking, your body will heal faster and you won't have to come here anymore and you'll get back to work. They don't want to tell them stuff like that. They just want them to keep coming in and in and in and in. And even my thought process is okay, we're helping. So even someone, I saw somebody getting TINS machines and this, a matrix machine on their body and their feet to try to get more circulation, right, and blood flow. But they're on Lyrica. Okay, so this is a temporary fix on their body, getting this kind of stimulation on their feet to give them a day and a half of feeling better. But they're still on something that's going to numb their nerve endings, and they're not going to be able to walk, and they're still not going to be able to feel their feet and their hands. They're going to be cold. How about we change their diet? How about we get them off the Lyrica? We give them some natural remedies to give them blood flow and circulation, put them on even a vibration plate, things like that that are actually going to give them prolonged change and benefits instead of just temporary fix. But they don't want you to be honest at all. So to me, it's like, I can't help that. I have to be, because that's expensive for them to go and do that. To me, that's expensive to keep going in and not having other things you could do to make long-term benefits instead of short-term outrageous amounts.
Well, and I love the way that you're putting that in perspective too, because it's not what's right and what's wrong. It's fact and truth. You can't beat around the bush when it comes to those things without lying or manipulating it. And I know we need to take our first break, but Kevin, we've got some big questions on exactly all these health remedies and some of these big things. Because I want to know
X
some
and XY, biologically we function different.
If it was so simple, huh?
Oh, did you like that one?
What, we function differently? What's that all about? I had no idea. Well, anyway. Rochelle, would you
You like how I left with that, Rochelle?
Yeah, that was so good. Do it again. I'm just kidding.
That's enough.
Well, we need to take our first break, and we are going to be back in just, I don't know. Well, what do we play, Rochelle? What do you want to play?
Ooh. Let me pick. Think of a question. Nobody go anywhere. Don't focus on me distracting us because I can't make a decision. Let's think. I would love to play. Let's do the mirror.
Na, 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 na. Okay, we'll play the mirror. And we'll be right back in 30 seconds. And by the way, this, for everybody that's out there, this can really impact you in a positive way if you let it. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A woman spent years hating the reflection in her mirror. One day, she whispered, "I am enough." Day by day, her reflection became her friend. Self-love begins with the words you tell yourself. Speak gently, because you are listening. This is brought to you by Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive. And welcome back to Positive Talk. Rochelle is here. I'm so grateful that you are here, my dear. And Dr. Lisa Christie is here. And Dr. Lisa, I got to ask you, why is it that when some of us, and most of us, on just about all of us, look in a mirror, we think less than? We look at our flaws and not the magnificent creatures that we are. Why do we do that?
Well, and let me add to that. You are the perfect person, doctor, to be asking this question because you know all about it with your Miss America and, all these things and the whole StreamYard of what it's like with social media and reality kind of clashing together. So go ahead and answer that.
Well, I would say, that perspective in the mirror, being brought up the way I was brought up, I was always told you can do anything through Christ Jesus who strengthens you. Whatever you put your mind to, you can do it, right? You can make it. So I was taught that. But then when I was married to my ex-husband, then I started hearing all the negative. And so before I went into the national pageant, before I left, the Lord put it on my heart. He was going to show me through my eyes how he saw me. And that changed my perspective completely, that I am enough, that I am the person that he's called me to be, that I am smart, that I'm not an idiot, that I'm, intelligent. We all make mistakes, that I'm human, but I've always learned to put my best. And I'll tell you what, these people that, these kids that are brought up and look in the mirror and say that I'm not enough, and they don't see what they should see. I always say to people that, you have a unique DNA that no one else has in the world. And that you are important and you are special. God does not make junk. There is a purpose for you. And when you are not going after that purpose, you're robbing the world of you. And so you have to start speaking. Your mouth is like a rudder of a ship, right? And you have to start speaking life and not death. And the Lord taught me this years ago, is that speak things as if it already is happening. You put the wheels into motion. So I would say, I am going to host a fitness video. I am going to be on the cover of a magazine. I am going to do this and that. Maybe you're not going to do it right away because you're not ready. So a lot of times leaders are just in that environment, in that space, because they're supposed to be learning before they can be elevated to the next step, because they're not ready to be leaders. But maybe it's just not time yet. You still have to speak it and believe in yourself because you have a great purpose. You just haven't done it yet because the world has been lying to you since you've been younger. A lot of kids, when they're growing up, they're told they're nothing, they're not worthy. They're worthless. They're junk. They're crap. I'm sorry that people have said that to you because they've lied to you. You've had a bunch of liars around you because there are things that you have in you that are going to touch and impact lives. And you have to stop believing it and start speaking life and not death. And that pisses me off that people have done that to people and said, you're never going to be a singer. You're never going to be a doctor. You're never going to be a lawyer. You're never going to do this. You're never going to do that. They've been lying to you. Whatever it is that's been in your heart that you want to do, I don't care if it's an artist, work at your craft, You have to work at your skill set, because art is a skill derived over time. You have to work at your craft. If you want to play guitar, you have to practice every day. You want to sing, you have to work your vocal cords every day. You want to be an artist, you have to work that. Martial artist and be a black belt and train people. Put those goals and set them. And that's what I've done. I'm not just doing what I'm doing as a model and actress in television, but I've been working at my craft in leadership. I've been working at my craft in martial arts. You had asked me that last time, Kevin, like, why do you do it? Because I want to be a defender of people. If I am there and I see something, I'm going to do something. I'm not going to walk away. I'm going to be a warrior and defend, even if it takes my life for someone else. I would risk my life for anybody, any stranger. And that's how I exist. But I have to work at my craft, because I won't be able to do anything if I'm not comfortable and confident in the skills that I have. Because, like I said, you have to work at them to know that, when you're ready, you have to utilize them and know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rochelle.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I think that video was perfect in what you just said, because when you make that decision within yourself, when somebody reflects their mirror onto you, you no longer accept their view and their reality, right? So it does it form you into, is it really just that simple? You make that decision in your mind and you see it and you feel it and you don't let it go, and then you're no longer
like the more you do it, the more you do it, you become it, right? The more you practice things, it becomes part of your DNA. It's like I say, even martial arts, the more you practice it over and over and over again, when you go to do your testing, for instance, I just did my blue belt in Krav. So I'm a black belt in Kung Fu, but I just got my blue belt. But the funny thing is when you can't think, you've practiced so long and you can't think, and you're fighting one person after the other is attacking you for the next hour, you can't think that you get better. You get better and better and better, because it's just been embedded in you. And the more you practice that and the more you speak that about yourself, when those words come at you, it's like,
when they said you couldn't do it, and
brush your shoulders off,
like,
you know what I mean?
That was nothing.
Right. Brush your shoulders off. Like, I've been through so much. Like, you think that's going to bother me that you just said that about me? I've heard it, been there, done that. Bye-bye. Right. And that's how you got to act, because now you know who you are. I'm sorry. But now you know who you are, that doesn't hurt anymore. You've been there, done that, guys. Move on. Don't let your past dictate your future. They've said all those things. You've been through all those things. Now you're stronger and better. I wouldn't change anything I've been through, because you made me better. You made me stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a mover and a shaker. Right.
Like,
and
thank you for telling me that.
Right.
And Dr. Lisa, I have to ask you, I'll bet you there's one 4-letter word that you never use. You know what it is?
Swearing? To me, pride. Pride is, I don't know. What do you want? What were you thinking? Was that totally off track?
Well, no, it's
Are you talking about the swear word?
Well, it's a 4-letter word. It's called quit. You don't know what that word means.
No, I don't. I will fight to the end. But you know what? You have to know when to rest, though.
Yeah.
I won't quit whatever I'm doing, because you just know where you're supposed to be. Once you get on that path and you understand who you are and you're comfortable in your shell, there's no pride. It's not about you now, it's about others. But yeah, I don't quit, but I do know now when to rest.
Everybody needs balance.
You're a horse, right? Consider yourself a stallion. When you have worked, or, some people say you're a polymath square. You're so proficient at so many different things. You're a professional at so many different things. Mm-hmm. But you also have to know, it's like a hockey player. They got to take a month off after the season. You have to rest your mind. You have to rest your body, because you want to be ready for when you're called for your next thing, to be on the money, be on point, to be your best for everyone. So you do have to know when to rest, for sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever been called a triple threat?
No.
Do you know what a triple threat in the acting
world
means?
What a triple threat is. Go ahead.
It is a singer, an actor, and a dancer. You can do it all. You're a triple threat.
Okay. I've heard it in a variety of different ways, but yeah. I think people don't know how to take me. Some people get defensive immediately in your presence. Mm-hmm. I think that's why I've been friends with guys more than I have been friends with women, because it's almost like a competitive thing, and they feel threatened by my presence. even threatened by your light that's in you. They don't know how to respond, especially if they have darkness in their life. They don't like the light. So they immediately respond with this. I want to hurt you. I want to attack you. I want to say mean things to you. But again, as to me, who's going to be in, as a leader in society, it's your response. It doesn't bother me anymore. I'm just like, well, that's not very nice. You said that. That's not a kind thing to do. That's how I respond. I don't say the 4-letter word. Another 4-letter word.
Another 4-letter word.
And I don't hurt people. But I've always been like that. I don't know. I've always been like that as a young person. My mom taught me like treat people like Jesus, and it's just been my heart. My heart's always been big for people, and I'm like, well, I feel sorry for you that you talk like that to people. I have to pray for you.
It's kind of funny you say that.
Well, and at one point, I like to give people grace. There's a reason why they're acting the way they are. They're not where they would like to be, and they don't even know what it is that they would like to be yet. And so I give them grace and say, you're gonna get it. It's gonna figure it out for you sooner or later. And then bless them and let them go, but do not let them into your world, because they're not
good boundaries. Yeah, you don't have to let them in. You don't have to have lunch with them. But you know what? You might be giving someone grace that's never gotten or received grace.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And that is impactful. I think I don't know if I talked about this the last time, but there was a guy that was really mean, that was part of the men's group. And he was just a nasty, nasty guy. So they did an intervention, brought him into the pastor's office, and when he walked in, he goes, "Oh, I know what this is. You guys are getting on, you're going to get on my case and blah, blah, blah." And the pastor just walked up to him and loved on him. He said, "No, we love you. We just, they were giving him grace." And then all the men came around and hugged him, and it was transformative for his life because he had never received grace from anyone, right? They just responded. So I always say, try to look at the person, and you don't know what they've been through. You don't know their life and how bad it is. They might have lost people that were close to them and just got bitter and ugly and nasty, right? Because they don't know how to process all those feelings. So when you give kindness, you don't put fuel on the fire. They have nothing to come after you. You're just giving them love and grace. And that might change their life. You have no idea the kind words that you could say if you could just look at them and not take it personally. Because again, I think we've talked about it. If you slide me over and someone else is in front of them, they're going to treat them the same way. It's not about you. Get off yourself. It's not about you. It's really about them and what they've been through and why you're the target for that temporary, moment, or if you work with them in the workplace, pray for them.
And I used to be that person, doctor. I hated happy people. Oh my gosh, it drove me nuts. If you had too happy or bright or shining, your voice was too high, whatever, you're just
well, the voice too high is different. I sometimes feel sorry for guys that they got to live with that voice for 25 years.
Yeah, because I'm just like, you need to just get with reality. Let me just smack you up straight and help you. And now that I'm that person, I see how I was and how it wasn't even about what I said or what I did at times when I reacted, but how the response was that I got back. Because if they didn't give me the same energy, which is pretty much what I wanted, like, I'm already ready. I'm already on fire. Like, let's go. But when somebody put that flame out, it was like, what are you left with to deal with besides think about yourself and where that came from? You could spark somebody's entire healing journey just because you were kind and didn't give them the energy they're actually looking for in you.
And one more step, you can change your environments that you're in by the way you respond and the way you act, right? And so you're always consistent, because if you're, Kevin and I were talking about, like, sometimes there's people that are in a workplace, right? And they're over here and they're acting a certain way and they're talking to you a certain way. And then you see them over there talking to other people. Wait a minute, they didn't say that to me. Now they got this whole bunch of BS that they're talking about over there. Trust, it takes time in leadership to gain trust. But if you're constantly changing your story and how you're acting and treating people differently in a way that's, you're favoring them and now you're treating me this way, there's your environment's going to be far different than you ever wanted. But if you're consistent, like those people that were positive, where you were like, come on, like, just give me some fire so I can come after you. Change your environment, and you have no idea the lives that you're impacting by being a consistent, positive, loving, gracious person. As Kevin said, grace, right? And you need to do that. You need to respond to people better. Set your boundaries. Doesn't mean you got to take things. Hey, we don't talk like that here. You know, it's like when people start saying the words name and fame, I say it immediately, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." They don't say the 4-letter word it to me. It's like blank you. They literally say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because I'm telling you what I'm going to allow when you talk to me or around me. You know, go over there and talk to somebody else that way. But I don't like that. Right. That's your change your environment. And that's what's really important. You can make a difference and change the environment you're in and be more positive, and people are going to respond.
Yeah. A lot of times too, I know we need to take a break. I'm so sorry, Kevin, but a lot of times people don't even recognize. They don't even know until you point it out. So when you attack somebody for something they may not even understand, it's just not the way to go about it. When you give them grace, it's like, oh, you know, maybe I've impacted somebody else and maybe I could work on that.
Yeah. Kevin.
Oh, I'm just having a great time. I'm just watching the show, quite frankly. I'm having a great time having two great, powerful women talking to each other, and that's just, I'm just happy as a duck in water. So, I think, if I don't have any idea.
They're pretty happy in water. They're splashing around. The ducks in the water, they waddle.
We need to take our halftime break, and when we come back, I have proof, Dr. Lisa, that you have the ability to change your environment no matter what is presented to you, and I did it on a bus, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin, and Brachelle is right there, and Dr. Lisa Christie is with us. And Brachelle, tell us how we can get to work with Dr. Christie and to find out all about her and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the fun stuff. Well, she's got all the things about her videos, health, Be Harmony, which I want to mention again and ask you how that's been going, and lots more at drlisachristie.com. Has all the information and a way to reach her. Kevin, did you have a question?
I just wanted to make the statement that when we were talking about that we can change the environment no matter where we are. I drove a bus for 12 years, and most of the time, I don't know, Dr. Lisa, you seem pretty affluent to me. You probably haven't ridden a bus any time in the past, or have you?
No, the last time I rode a bus was to New York City on the Metro bus, and that was horrendous. I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
It was so cold and bumpy, and yeah, I took it with my mother. We decided we wanted to take a bus, but we couldn't get any flights into New York City, so we took that bus. That'll never happen again because that was horrible.
and most bus drivers take the attitude, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just going to drive the bus. Leave me alone. I took a different attitude, and I said hello to everybody that got on the bus. How are you? And stuff. And what I found was 20% of the people answered back. For the 3% of the people answered back with something like, "What did you say?" But it didn't matter because it was all about me, but I could change the energy that was on the bus by my attitude and my attitude alone. And we all have the ability to do that, be it in the workplace, be at home, be anywhere you choose to, you can change the energy. Go ahead, Brachelle. And you had a question going in.
Honestly, I forgot, but whatever you're touching on right now is magnificent about the energy shift.
I would say, you made me think of this. Winston Churchill in the movie that he was talking about, when they went through World War II, and he was deciding the fate of England. And he was having a conversation with his wife, and she said, "Ask the people." And he went into a different environment he never went into, and he went into the train station. And people were like, wait, this is Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of England. What is he doing here? And they all were like, what do we do? How do we respond? And when he just started talking to people and asking them their first and last name and what they did for a living, he changed the environment. They felt safe. They felt like he was on their level, that he wasn't higher, that he just wanted to know what they wanted to do. And they all said, fight. We want to fight. And wow, that was impactful for me to even teach that in leadership. When I was a professor at a college, I went, this is impactful, because he wanted to know what the people wanted. He didn't want to base his decision upon himself. He could have felt, I'm all powerful, I'm going to make these decisions. He wanted to know what the people wanted, and he changed that environment. And that probably spread like wildfire, that he is the coolest dude. Oh my God, he came into the train station and asked us our names and wanted to know what we did for a living. He cares, right? And that changed their perspective of how this prime minister was. And that's what we can do. Don't ever think you're so great and so big that you can't have a conversation with a homeless person on the street. I've always made sure I talk to people that are homeless. I don't care if the Pope is standing in front of me. I'll talk to them like a human being, and respectfully, right? But I'm still going to talk to you like a human being. To me, I just see you as another person with your job is different, for the year. That's what it is. You're not better or bigger. Stop looking at people as if they're a god. They're not. There's only one God to me. But I'm just saying, stop looking at them like that. They're a person, and they want you to talk to them like a person, with respect, honor, grace, right? Not disrespectful. Have a conversation. There's 27 other words instead of swearing at a person or saying stupid things. You can speak better than that. Work on it. Look in the dictionary for new words every day and learn the definition of them, right? But you don't have to talk nasty to people and say horrible things. It just makes you look less intelligent than you actually are.
Yeah.
And in fact, what you're doing is you are hurting yourself, because we are all connected. And when you speak badly about another person or to another person, you're disrespecting yourself. Mm-hmm. And you're disrespecting the power that brought you into the world. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, Dr. Lisa, but a smile is free.
Oh, and it's like igniting, right? And when you look at a small child and they smile at you, people they change from this pissy face to this, oh, it's so cute. Yep. It's amazing. I watch it all the time because I'm an observer. As an actor, I'm always observing people and how they respond. But it's like, it's free. A smile is free. It really is. I mean, I was at the doctor's earlier today, and just this lady started smiling at me. She goes, "Oh, honey, you don't have any gloves." I go, "Yeah, my daughter borrowed my coat, took my brand new gloves out of it, and it's a snowstorm." And she goes, let me, scrape off your car for you. She's older, like she's an old lady. And she was so kind and so sweet. That's free. She smiled at me and it was free. And it'll open up the lines of communication immediately. Right. And that's it. Just take the time. It's really, don't be so miserable. There's options to get out of that misery. If you smile and have a conversation, you forget about what you're feeling and you do kind acts for other people. And it changes the dynamic of your entire day. Yes. That's all, immediately. But you were earlier about my company, and that's another thing when we're talking about medically, other options to change your health. It's what you put on your body every day. Every single day, we're putting on 3,000 plus chemicals. This is a $56+ billion industry, the cosmetic industry, between your hairsprays and your deodorants and your shaving cream and your perfume, which has even more chemicals and toxins in it. These things are going on your skin and making your body worse. They're killing you. If I call it the slow suicide, people are like, don't be so negative. It is. It's a slow suicide. Because
Doctor, I really, really want to talk about that, but I want to give full time. Sure. We have Gowdy, my dad. Hello. I love you. Oh. He says, hello, people. Hello, joining us in. He's driving a truck going to Denver right now.
Be safe. Traveling mercies. Yeah.
Yes. Be safe, or I'll rape you again and kill you myself. Awesome. But I had to share this story because I just realized that this happened this morning. There was a guy who was by one of the freeway exits. I haven't left my house much recently, so he's been there a while. I'm talking almost a month, probably a little over. He had a sign He was a homeless man. He had a sign. It wasn't asking for anything. All it said was share smiles and love. And that's all his sign said, share smiles and love. And I made it my duty that I would be the person, whatever it was. He wasn't asking for anything. I offered him a piece of gum at times. I offered him some water, just whatever I had. And he would always say no. So I started smiling and waving at him. And this happened a good 10 times. And I just left my house for the first time in days again this morning. And I came off that exit and he's not there. And it made me question, did he get so many people to smile and wave and change this reaction of getting off the freeway, which we all know how that usually is? And where is he now? And is he still
or did
doing
someone
that?
complain because they didn't like his positivity?
This guy's too happy. He was a Burchell. It was like, you need to get him off of this. He's just ruining the reality. And no, it was.
I hope not. I hope not, because
about
we need
that.
more people like that. There's a guy actually not far from us that has a sign that says free hugs. And I always pull into a parking lot and get out and give him a hug. And he
Yeah.
stands there all the time, especially, when the weather's nice. And he's always giving people free hugs. And they know who he is now. And once in a while, I don't see him for a while. And then he's back out there again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, people are like, that's weird. But it's
Well,
really
and to do it fearless, because our brains kick in and it's like, oh, we make excuses to not do these things. It made today, as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, what would it hurt to get 5 pieces of paper and write a message on it and go staple them somewhere out on the street? Just put them wherever I want them. And to know that it is, that kind of stuff comes back to you. And when you give that out, you give it back just as you do negatively. And that directly leads into.
There's a guy in TikTok that gives out a little piece of paper and writes really positive things to people and hands it to them. You are loved, you're special or whatever. And they're like, really? Or they start crying because it just was something special that they had never heard before. Well, it's free. It's free. Yeah. Be kind.
Yeah. And there's a gal in Pennsylvania that has been on the show several times, and she gives out nuggets of hope. If somebody she appears to be having a bad day, she gets these polished rocks, and they're engraved in gold lettering, hope. And if she sees somebody having a bad day, she won't preach at them. She won't do it. She'll just say, you look like you could use this, and drop this rock in their hand. And then just turns around and walks away, because the statement had already been made. Here's your nugget of hope.
Yeah.
And that if we all did that, Dr. Lisa, we would change the world, wouldn't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a guy that couldn't get his shoes on, a client, and he couldn't get his shoes on, and he felt prideful. Like, I said, let me put your shoes on for you. And he's like, no. I said, Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. Let me put your shoes on for you. And it's like little things like that. People don't expect you to be kind and helpful, and they feel like almost embarrassed. They can't. So what? This is temporary. It doesn't mean you're going to be like this forever. But let me help you when you're down, because then you could do that. You can pay it forward and do it for other people, right? That's what we have to do, is make a difference. And people don't think like that. But when you say, hey, listen, Jesus did it, let me do it for you. It's okay. Like, don't feel bad about it. I want to help you. Let me help you. A lot of people have a hard time receiving that. They really do.
Yeah.
Many people, even if you compliment them, have a tough time accepting the compliment without condition and only as it's offered, which is just love.
Mm-hmm. I always say, just say thank you. Just say thank you. Just receive it, because you're not going to hear those things forever. I think as you get older, you hear less compliments. You hear less things about you. Enjoy the moments while you're younger that you're going to hear those things, but just say thank you, because it's not going to be there forever. You might get some kind words from people, but it seems as society has been just uglier, you're getting less and less of those positive things. We have to be that light. We have to be the light to make a difference. And I hope that from this show that people are going to take this and spread that love and spread that grace and spread that positivity to others. Make a difference, people, in your life. You have a short time here, just little moments, small moments of acts of kindness would be fantastic. If you could just take a second out of your day to do that, you can make a difference and change someone's life, transform their lives. right?
Even tell yourself thank you. When you have that thought that is like, oh, my hair looks good. Thank you. When you fill yourself up with it, it's so much easier to give it out.
In that mirror, start talking to yourself much better, because you might not have too many people in your world that will do it. But if you look at yourself and believe that you're not garbage, you're not crap, you're not all those ugly things people have said, start saying it every day. You're going to start believing in yourself. You're going to start trusting in yourself and your abilities, right, Rochelle? Right. Yeah. Yep. Ooh, Kevin, what are you thinking about?
Do you tell yourself you're beautiful every day? There's only one right answer.
What I'm thinking about is that this presentation that we are doing is impacting people all over the world, and it's one at a time. They're sitting in their bedroom listening to this, or their car, or maybe they're walking down the street. And even though we are being heard by a lot of people, we are being heard by one. And I hope that will impact somebody to do better, to be kinder, to be more loving, to be accepting of each other, because each other's all we've got. I say that at the end of every show, and I truly mean it, that be kind to each other, because each other's all we've got. And that is, that is in the Bible. That is also in most religious texts of any type. Be kind to each other and treat each other as we would want to be treated. And we can do that. It's not that hard.
Love is the answer. Like when someone in your family is just being pissy or crappy or whatever, I just go and I give them a warm, loving hug. And it's like, oh, they just melt, right? And love is just, it changes your heart. It really does. Out of the heart speaketh the mouth, right? When you get that, just take a moment to hug someone. If they're in a bad mood, don't respond like, oh, just grab them and hold them for a second, because sometimes that's all they need. They just need a little hug and some kind of, connection with someone that cares. And it just takes a second. Just do that. Don't respond to them being pissy. Just go over there and love on them and give them the grace that we were talking about. Give them the kindness that they need that day. They didn't even know that they needed it, but as soon as you do it, they melt. They literally melt, and it's like you just help them for the rest of their day, because not everyone is as strong as you. Not everyone is able to respond the same as you. They are not you. They need some help. So are you willing to give people help? Make a choice. Make a good choice today.
And even if they are not in your immediate area, you can send a hug energetically to somebody. I do it to Rochelle all the time. Sometimes I even make her cry. She's like my daughter, and I love her to pieces. And when she's unhappy, I'm unhappy, but because Dr. Lisa, is like with you, you can see the energy, the radiance of you can see the person that you are. And that shines through. There's no pretense. There's no maybe sometimes, maybe not. This is my package. This is who I am. So, you're going to have to deal with it.
We can even go one step further. Is sometimes people respond nasty because their diets are terrible. They're literally sugar bound. They're wondering why they're itching their skin off. They're shedding like, snowflakes. It's because they're just loaded with carbs and loaded with sugar, and they get nasty and pissy. But if you change your diet and live a more holistic lifestyle, that's why I was mentioning earlier, like what you put on your skin, but also what you put in your body. You got to make good choices. Yeah, go ahead, have a splurge day once a week. That's fine. But your body needs good, healthy fuel to respond in all that you do much better. Otherwise, you're extremely tired, you're extremely pissy, you're extremely nasty, and you're just not feeling right. And the reason you're not feeling right is you're not taking care of the temple, the body that you have for the rest of your days. Do you want to live longer, or do you want to shorten your days? Because when you die early, you're making everyone else sad that they're going to lose you, right? Do you want to live longer, stronger, and better? Or do you want to shorten those days and live pissier? It's a choice.
It is.
Let's see. Stronger, happier, or pissier?
Better.
Okay, I'll choose stronger, better, happier. Uh, that sounds like a hell of a lot more fun than living pissy. I was leaving the convenience store the other day, and there was a lady that came in that had this great big frown. First of all, it takes a lot of facial muscles to create a great big frown, much less to be happy and stuff. It was like something bad. What is going on in her mind,
Mhm.
and how can we make that better? And hopefully someday she'll find a way.
Well, they really don't. I mean, I walked into the doctor's earlier and everybody, well, first of all, I called to see if they were even open because of our snowstorm, but the girl was just miserable and pissy that she had to be there. And then I got there and the other lady was miserable and pissy. And I was like, well, it seems like everybody's really miserable about being here today. But it started a conversation. And from there, I was able to kind of interject some positivity. And next thing you know, she's just talking away, happier. And you know what I mean? There's like someone to kind of get things off and just be positive about her life. And it was just, that's all you need. Is just, it doesn't take a few seconds to try to change their dynamic, because otherwise you got a bunch of Eeyores walking around. They got a cloud over their head, right?
Dr. Lisa, you remind me of a story I have to tell.
Okay.
When I was young, I was a waiter in a fine dining restaurant, and it was at the DoubleTree Plaza Hotel. And there's a bar next door, which was the Infinity Bar, and and a lot of guys would go there. Well, if there's nobody in the restaurant at 10 o'clock, I get to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm done. And if somebody comes in at 5 to 10 or 10 to 10, that's guaranteed that I'm going to be there till 11:30.
Right.
And I wanted to go home. And so lo and behold, a party of 6 walks into the restaurant at 5 to 10. And the hostess seats them. And I had this attitude because, damn it, I want to go home and I don't want to wait on these guys. And one of the guys at the head of the table, he, as we were beginning to order and stuff, and he could see the look on my face, he raised his hands because he was clearly in charge of the group. Mm-hmm. And he raised his hands and everybody was quiet. And he said, what's your name? And I said, Kevin. And he says, well, Kevin, there's 2 ways that we can do this. You can relax and enjoy waiting on us, and you will get a good tip out of it, and we will be happy. Mm-hmm. Or you can be the little pissant that you're being right now, and you're still going to wait on us, and you're not going to get much of a tip, and you're going to be unhappy. You get to choose. And I walked away from the table.
That was pretty direct.
He wasn't kidding around. He meant it, every word, because that was the energy that I was displaying. He said, I don't want to be here. What do you want? Kind of and stuff, rather than doing, I was going to have to wait on him one way or the other. I might as well relax and enjoy it. And that's, some of us, we don't get that. And he was direct, and I changed my attitude, got a nice tip, and we shook hands at the end of the dinner.
Yeah, that even reminds me is that I was always like that as a waitress, going above and beyond and making people happy. And then you'd have people that would leave you $1. But I always had the attitude that I know someday, or, some client or customer is going to bless me. It doesn't matter. It's like when you write a thank you card or you buy someone something and you do something kind for them. You don't expect a thank you card back. Don't be that person. Just do it because you're doing the right thing, and you'll get blessed in some way. So what? Someone gave me $1. The next one gave me $100. You know what I mean?
Well, and what if that was their only $1 and they gave it to you?
Oh no, this was a very wealthy, like, country club.
I'm not trying to be positive.
$100 meal, and they left me $1 and made me run like a chicken with my head cut off. But to me, it's like, I know God will bless me as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I would get other people that give me, they had maybe a $200 check and they give me $100. Just because those are the people that make up. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing the right thing and you'll get blessed for it. Right, Kev?
Well, yeah, when I was young, when I was young, there was a mom and two daughters, and the daughters were late teenagers, and they came down to shop. They were from Canada, and they would come in, and they always requested my section because they liked me, and I liked them in stuff, and we had a great time. But in Canada, they don't tip
No, they
like
do
they
not,
do in the United States,
because they're so
and so
taxed.
yeah.
Everything's a tax.
So
Yeah.
consequently, they thought they were doing well by giving me $2, and it was but because they were nice people, I just kept overlooking it and stuff. But people are people, and we need to take care of each other because that's why we're here, I
Yeah,
think.
we really are.
But before we go, you and Rochelle and Dr. Lisa talk about her work and her holistic practices and the food and everything that she does.
Well, last time, doctor, you taught me things that I still think about. I'm like, hold on.
Oh,
I remember Dr. Lisa saying this and this and that. And one thing that you just mentioned, which I've learned, is like the number one biggest problem we have in America, and that's our sugar intake and paying attention for our health. We're talking about all these ways to show up for yourself and show up for other people. You can do all these things on the outside, but what's going on in the inside will determine what actually happens at the end of that road, and you help people understand that. So can you break that down a little bit, and maybe just something new that you've learned or added to that?
well, I mean, we have to be good consumers and read labels, like I was talking about with products, right? You know, my
Yeah.
all natural products. Anybody, the FDA requires the greatest to the least. So when you're looking at food, you want to turn it over and see how natural it is. And usually the third ingredient is corn syrup, which is horrific for you. It's so acidic to the body, and acidity in the body actually brings on cancers and diseases, right? It makes you unhealthy, but also makes you moody, as we were talking about. Those things that are not natural for the body. Aspartame, any kind of sucralose, Splenda, those things that makes you crave more fat. Those substitutes, those sugar substitutes, are horrific for you. Go for the brown rice syrup and the agave and the natural honeys, or the stevia, which is a plant extract. It's natural for you. So when I make a spaghetti sauce, I'll use all natural cane sugar, but half of the normal amount that you would use. And I put stevia for the other portion. So it's not that, sometimes stevia has a little bite to it, but it's less sugar. But read your labels. When you read the labels, you'll see carbohydrates. It might say 48 grams of carbs, but underneath you'll see sugar. And if it says 42 grams of sugar, that means the majority of it is sugar. Just think about what you're buying. Start looking at labels and comparing. Oh, this salsa has no sugar in it, and this salsa has corn syrup in it, or the second ingredient is sugar. That means it's high. So let me look at the carbs. Let me look at the sugar content and see if it's really matching up to the carbs. If it's at, if it says 48 grams and the sugar says 38, that's pretty high. So you want to try to find more natural things for your body. Be good consumers and read your labels. But sugar changes your mood. It changes your body. You have a glucose level. When you go beyond that glucose level, that sugar level, it gets stored as fat. And it's just too much, and you're never going to work it off, right? But good fat gets rid of bad fat, like the nuts. Those nuts like cashews and pistachios. Read your labels again for even nuts, right? If you're looking at nuts, you'll see safflowers and sunflowers and palm oils. That's not a healthy nut anymore. It is now something that's a trans fat that's going to block your arteries, and it's going to not allow blood flow to circulate through your body. It's bad for you. So be good consumers and read the labels, because it's going to change the dynamic and shorten your life. And your body's trying to excrete it through your skin, right? So a lot of people get candida, like a yeast infection in their body. And so you've got to change your diet and get out the wines and you take out the carbs and the dairy to literally get rid of that in your body. It's like a yeast infection in your entire body. So now your skin starts shedding and you're wondering why I got eczema. No, if you change your diet simply, you'll get rid of it. Like my daughter, I think I was talking about it on one of the shows, is that my daughter, she had a gluten allergy. I go, honey, if you just stop eating pretzels for the next 2 weeks, why'd you pay $89 for that? I got to just stop eating pretzels for the next 2 weeks and you won't have a gluten allergy. I said, guaranteed, just stop eating them and then go get tested again. Pay your $89 just to prove that I'm right. And she didn't have a gluten allergy after 2 weeks. Guys, you think you have a gluten allergy? Just cut it out. Stop eating all the carbs. Stop eating all the sugar. Get rid of those things out of your diet. It just balance your body out. If you want some pasta, have it for breakfast and lunch. Don't have it for dinner. balance the amount of things that you have. Whole grain is definitely better, right? Or al dente, when you're doing it, you get less of the starch, that, glycemic index, it's lower. But those are little things that you can change, those little tricks, and make things with stevia. I even make cheesecake with stevia. If I want a sweet, dessert, I'll get the low fat cream cheese. I'll get something that's healthier as far as the graham crust, or I'll make my own. And then I put a little stevia in there. And sometimes I put natural preserves, so it's natural fruit on top. And now I'm happy and I'm not moody because I had my dessert coffee, right? You can treat yourself once in a while, but it's balanced. Just have a splurge day once a week. Be strong, and your body will function so much better. You'll feel so much better. You won't be exhausted all the time and moody. You want your temple. You want to live longer, not shorter, right? Extend your days, don't shorten them.
And if you want to find out more, you can go to Dr. Christie's website.
DrLisaChristie.com.
It's again what?
DrLisaChristie.com. And if you want to find my Be Harmony products that are 100% pure, /Be-Harmony. Just go to DrLisaChristie.com. You'll find the tab that says Be Harmony. But take care of your body. Be better consumers, read your labels, and live longer, right? Positivity.
That's it, baby. And Brachelle, we've come to the end of our day.
Good to see you again.
But I would love for you to take us out because you do such a good job.
Of course. Well, Kevin, thank you for making this all possible. As always, Dr. Lisa, I love you so much. I have to tell you, have to come back because you mentioned beauty products and things for women. We probably have no idea. We know about the glucose and the high fructose corn syrup and all these things, but you mentioned something that is daily and routine for us that I think is so important that we learn about. So will you please come back?
I will come back. I love you guys. I think you're awesome and you're impacting so many lives. And I'm just so proud of what you're doing here at Positive Talk. So blessings to you guys. And all of you, even in your own personal life.
Yeah. We love you.
Impact people. It's awesome.
I believe in positivity. I know it, and it works, and it can work in any aspect of your life. And by the way, it's just a hell of a lot more fun. I just have to say.
Yeah, you're a lot happier that way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When's the party? Where is it? Let's all get together.
Positivity party.
I'll create some more dance videos, but I would like you guys also to be in them.
Yes.
I'll pick the music.
Don't tell me twice. I'll make Kevin do it.
Yeah.
1 out of 2 of us will go on a dancing spree. I can tell you that right now.
I'm sorry, Kevin.
So I want to thank both of you for this. This has been an enchanting experience, and thank you both for doing it. And of course, Brachelle, she's got no choice. I make her.
And God bless all the viewers that are listening. I wish you the best in your life. Be better, think better, and do better.
Amen.
And have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.